Welcome to the True Warrior Recovery Podcast, where we interview the top leaders, healers in the mental health space, addiction, people that are really making a difference in the industry. And I have the absolute honor to bring one of my dear friends, Andre, onto the show. He is one of the most amazing men I've ever met. He's an incredible speaker. He's a best-selling author of recovery lifestyle. He's one of the best interventionists I have ever came across. He is a family coach, a recovery advocate, and just an overall good person when it comes to helping people heal and go through their traumas and journey. Welcome to the show, Andre.
Well, thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, I'm really grateful to have you on here. I've had the privilege and the opportunity to get to know you over the last, I think, about 8 years.
Yep.
So it's really been really beautiful, and I'm really happy to have you on the show. But I want everybody, the audience, to get to know you because this show is about really giving people resources and connecting them with the people that are really changing the game and impacting lives. So, first question I want to ask you is for those who haven't met you, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Andre, and what led you into this work?
Oof. All right. That's a loaded question. So who's Andre? Well, I'm a father. I'm a brother. I'm a fiance. I'm many things, but most of all, I'm a man of God. And to me, I have a mission to help people. That all came after my recovery, right? And that's why I'm in this industry. I went through addiction myself. I got beat up by a street gang and led to PTSD, addiction, and so on. I went through that for quite a few years, and eventually I was able to go to treatment, and that was the moment my new life started. Right, that's when I decided, you know what, I want to understand what happened to me. I was a businessman on top of the world, and then started hanging out with street gangs and be having all these issues. Right, so how can that happen to me? So I went to university to study mental health and addiction. And at first, it was just more for understanding, right? I just wanted to understand what happened. And I fell in love with it. I just fell in love with learning about myself, about human behavior, the body, the mind, and so on. And I realized that was my path, right? That was my calling. It started with just friends calling, "Hey, Andre, can you guide me? I don't know how you got out of it. Can you help me?" And then it went from there. I got the opportunity to study with some of the most amazing leaders like Dr. Valerie Mason John and Dr. Callie and stuff like that. I was able to learn from some of the leaders. And to me, there's not more value than that. When somebody's willing to share their knowledge, uh, I don't know. I'll appreciate that for the rest of my life, right? It's something that's valuable, and yeah. So that's why I'm here. I want to help people. I want to help families. I saw how it affected my family in such a devastating way when I was going through this.
Yeah.
And they seek for help. Like Kevin, you won't imagine how much they
Mm,
seek
yeah.
for help, and they just couldn't find it. It wasn't there. And the help that they were offered, unfortunately, wasn't help. Right?
Yeah.
It was just deflecting them over and over to other people. And that's what's happening in the industry often with families because nobody knows how to take care of them and nobody had the expertise or the know-how or the time, and they keep pushing them. Okay, call this person, go to this person, and it's like let's pass the puck, right? I'm Canadian, so pass the puck.
Yeah, I get it. That's funny. Clever wordplay. But yeah, I mean, that was really my follow-up. What the initial that moment that you decided to do that to get into this industry. Um, this is the type of industry that you need to have passion. And like you said, somebody said something to me one day that really stuck to me. He said, "We really don't know what's going on in life. We're all just walking each other home." Um, and passing that knowledge, like your friends reaching out to you and like how you did it. Here, come with me. I'll walk you there. I'll show you. Is really, really powerful. When I met you, I was introduced to you as like one of the best interventionists in the field. And I know you've done that for many years, but I know that right now, in this specific time of your life, your passion is to really focus on family coaching. I know how those both intertwine.
Yeah.
Um, what did your focus, why did it evolve in that direction? And can you explain that a little more?
Yeah, when I started in the industry, like it was, there was one way of doing things, or a few ways, but it was basically all similar. And I found that families were left high and dry often, right? And for me, like okay, we could help the family get their loved one into treatment when we do an intervention,
Yeah.
but what then? Right? Because the reality is the first 3 weeks that the person's in treatment, it's hell for the families because this person, their system is going into shock in a way, right? It's going into survival mode.
Yeah.
And all those traits of addiction of lying and manipulating and all these things, they come out tenfold, right? And now they're at the center saying, oh, everything's good. And then they're calling home saying, get me out of here. There's holes in the walls. They're not feeding me. They're not even doing therapy. It's not worth the money and all these things to try to get the parents or the family to bring them back home.
Mhm.
And often it works if there's no support, right? So that's why kind of changed my approach to how I did interventions. In now the family has to be part of it. If not, it's okay. I'm just not the right interventions for you, right? So I work with the family because for me, when we do an intervention, it does cause a small trauma to the person we're doing it to, but it's for the greater good. They're going to treatment to heal that trauma and all the other ones,
Yeah.
right? But I want to make sure this person is able to get that treatment. So they need to be able to stick to it. And in order to do that, I help support the family. And I've seen the dramatic change in success rates after I started doing that. Just following the family for at least 2 months, sometimes 3 months after the intervention, making sure they keep their loved one. Why they're calling? I explain to them. How can I reply? I help them with their replies. So we do the what do you call AMA, against medical advice of
Yeah.
blocking from our end, while the treatment center does it on their end. Plus, I could communicate with the treatment center and tell them, hey, this is going on in case you don't know. Right. So
Yeah.
at least now they're aware of the whole situation. And I just found that the families are also healing, right? So the person is not going back into a toxic environment. And the reality is, there's like the family situation or the situation always becomes toxic. It's not
Mhm.
because it's a bad family. No, it's because the person going through addiction has created this environment that's a toxic environment with enabling and codependency and all these things. So when the person goes to get help, if the family doesn't treat this, doesn't start their healing process, that person's coming back to that environment and chances of success are go down a lot, right? So yeah, so for me, I don't know, it just my heart won't allow me to do it any other way because I know that this helps everyone. It brings the chance of success higher. And yeah, so I refuse to interventions if they won't do that. And at the beginning I was like, man, I won't be able to run my business, like I won't get clients. And you
Yeah.
know what, it's the other way around. After people started understanding the integrity behind it, and they're like, okay, you know what, he's doing this for the right reason. This guy's refusing clients, right? Because we're not doing it this way,
The
right?
right way.
And yeah. So for me, it was harder at the beginning, but it became a lot easier, especially when I brought in my business partner, Lindsay, with
Yeah.
that dynamic of having a man and a woman.
Mhm.
It just makes a big
The
difference.
efficacy rate goes up tremendously. I do my interventions the same way. I absolutely love that. It's funny, you answer my questions so in depth. My follow-up questions are already answered by the time we get through the whole conversation. I was going to ask you about how the what the experience is emotionally for the family, and
Mm,
what do the families' beliefs think that the problem is, what it is in reality, because it's a
mm,
lot about education. It's a lot about them not knowing and understanding what's really going on, being manipulated for so many years.
yeah.
Uh, they just know what they know. And by informing them and giving them the proper tools and abilities and knowledge, really pays out tenfolds when
Yeah.
you're going through this process. So,
And
yeah,
it goes against human nature a little bit, the way you have to be a parent once your loved one's in active addiction.
yeah,
So it's normal that most parents we tend to try to shelter our people, right? If you have a child and they're going through something, you shelter them, you take care of them, you protect them, you give them what they need, right? And that's what a parent naturally we do. But when our loved one's in active addiction, if we do that, we're not helping them anymore. What we're doing, we're helping them to slowly kill themselves,
yeah,
right? So that's why we have to change our behavior as a family because our loved one does not have the mental capacity in that moment to change. And
yeah.
we can't change them. But what we can change, we have the mental capacity to change our behavior. And by changing our behavior, by force, it changes our loved one behavior.
So would you say that's the first mindset shift that you have to get in with the family before
Yep.
you like start coaching them so they understand that?
100%, 100%. The first mind, we can't say my loved one doesn't want treatment, doesn't want treatment, they don't want to do if we don't change our mindset. The only way to change our loved one's mindset is to change ours. We have to throw them curveballs. That loved one is so used to getting the same reactions as the same things
Hmm.
that he's built a life around it. So now the family members, we now have to consciously throw curveballs. I'll give you an example. If dad is usually, pardon the word, the hard ass,
Yeah.
I'll have them switch roles. Dad is going to start treating the person going through addiction with love, son or this daughter or whatever. I'm sorry you're going through this. I see you're in pain. I don't understand addiction, but I do see you're in pain, and I want to help you. I love you. Instead of why are you doing this like that, right?
Yeah.
And that loved one's gonna be like,
Pattern behavior.
boom, and that's when the truth comes
Yeah.
out. That's when the reality and the truth comes out because now you threw them a curveball and they don't know what to say anymore. And same thing with mom. If mom's always loving and all of a sudden, I'm done with this. From now on, this, put the boundaries down. Oh, my enabler is, oh wow, what do I do? Right? So
Immediate pattern
that's
interruption. They're like,
exa
oh, I don't know
ex
how to operate in this.
exactly. And there's always fear. Well, if we do that, they might take their lives, they might hurt themselves. And that's always that's always there. No matter if we take action or not, that risk is there. The only difference is we know they're slowly going down, they're slowly taking their lives, right?
Hmm.
So we're going to try to interrupt that, right? So the risk of them taking their lives is there either way, right? So this way, we're trying to create what I call a controlled rock bottom, where
Yeah.
we put these boundaries down slowly while we're ready. We have a place to go, right? We have action that we can take. We're not just putting boundaries and no, we're putting boundaries because we have a plan. We
Yeah.
want to bring this person to get help. We have help.
Yeah. And how do you explain to an enabler, a codependent parent, um, to be able to enforce those boundaries and explain to them that this is the best way? Because I know I've done this many times, and the thing that can mess up an intervention the fastest is a parent not carrying the boundary, being codependent. How do you enforce that and let them feel comfortable with that?
Well, the first thing, I don't have a timeline on interventions. I only do the intervention when I feel the whole team is ready and
Mm,
on the same page. And to help the family understand, I use the exact same words I used with you. By doing this behavior, we're helping them take their lives. Before we met, you did not know that. You didn't know. You were doing what is natural to a parent. You didn't know, but now you know, right? So if you continue doing it, you're doing it knowing that you're slowly helping them take their
mm.
lives, right? And that pattern's hard to break. That's why I'm here. I'm here to help you. We'll work through that. And don't feel bad if you enable here and there. Like it's a pattern that's been there for a long time. There's no guilt, no shame. We're in the learning process right now, and I'll help you through it if you're willing to. Right. And then we start that process of changing that pattern. And once we're ready, then we move on to that intervention.
Excellent. So not all the users understand that an intervention in family coaching sometimes comes in two separate services. Although you won't do
Yep.
an intervention without family coaching, what if the client is willing to go to treatment and try, and you're doing the family coaching without the intervention? What does that look like?
Right. And I see that in more than that situation. Sometimes it's a
Yeah.
client really does not want to go to treatment at all. And then we do the family coaching anyways, because what I do with the family coaching is I help the family take their lives back,
Mm,
right? To stop living around their loved one's disease.
yeah.
Right? So the worst thing that I see is that we all hop on the roller coaster all the time with the loved one that's in active addiction. They're on this roller coaster and we keep hopping on, right? And what I help teach the family is how about we just observe? How about we don't hop on that roller coaster? How about we just observe the roller coaster? That way we're in a better situation to help once he's ready to stop riding that roller coaster. We're not burnt out, we're not mad, we're not right. We're in a healthy place to
We're not
help.
playing his game on his ride.
Exactly,
We're
exactly.
shaking things up a
Yeah.
little bit.
Exactly. So I don't know if I answered your question there.
You did, you did.
Yeah.
I know. So I know most people have seen a intervention on TV. Um, and you know, I wanted to know if you can either debunk the myths of what people see on TV. Is
Mhm.
that actually how it goes all the time, or is
All
that
right.
just for TV purposes?
Yeah, well, we have to understand TV, you have to get ratings, right? So it's is it that way all the time? No. Is it that way sometimes? Sometimes, right? I've seen some very good interventions on that show, and I've seen some that were like, "Ooh, watch out." So really, it's the only thing I could say is that interventions should not be a one size fits all. It was like that for a while, and unfortunately, drugs have changed. Like addiction has changed, and it's not a one size fits all. So that like I see this often in the industry. We talk within interventionists, and like, okay, what model do you use, right? Uh, I think it's a disadvantage to our families if we only use one model,
Hmm.
right? I think the goal is to understand all the models. You don't have to be an expert in all of them. You have to understand all of them and then make them work with your personality and who you are and with the families. What's best for the family? Sometimes that surprise intervention is necessary. Sometimes you're better off doing like a meeting, just like talking with a person, right?
Yeah, scheduled.
Yeah, you schedule it and you talk with them and it's like I've seen so many different ways of doing it that you have to adapt to your family, right? You have not only to the family, but really to the person that you're going to be doing that intervention with. And I'll give you the best example. Anytime I do an intervention, I go on social media, I figure out who I'm doing the intervention on and who's their best friends. What do they look like? Right?
Build rapport.
When I get to the intervention, I might not look like the same guy the family met the whole time. I'll
Yeah,
look like that guy or that girl's best friend.
yeah.
I'll be
Smart.
dressed like that person's best friend, right? Because I want them to create that rapport. If I get there with a suit and tie, right, and they're going to be like, man, unless it's a business person, then I will get there with a suit and tie.
Yeah,
Right. So it's about adapting and not being a one size fits all. And that's been the problem in our industry, not only in intervention, in the whole recovery world, is we've had this one size fits all for so long, and recovery is different for everyone. That's why I wrote the book, The Recovery Lifestyle, right? Everybody creates their own recovery lifestyle and stops focusing on sobriety and all that stuff. Focus on creating a happy, healthy recovery lifestyle that works for you. And all of that, that's going to be a byproduct of this.
yeah. I love mirroring. I love NLP. I love building rapport with that. Do you think I did a good enough job with building rapport with you? We're both wearing black shirts and a cross on our
100%,
necks.
man. Yeah, oh
I
yeah, oh
crushed
yeah.
that one, right?
The glasses,
Right
there
in
you
there
go.
like swimwear. So tell us about your book. Give us a little thesis of it. So like if when the audience is out there and want to learn more, give us a little synopsis of what that looks like.
All right, it's called The Recovery Lifestyle. It's on Amazon and it's a self-help book. It there's one chapter on there about my story so people could understand where I come from and so on, what I've been through. And then there's two chapters that is specially designed for families that talk about codependency, enabling, and how to go from enabling to loving. Because there's a fine line, right? So there's a chapter
Yeah.
specially designed for that for families. And the rest of the book, it's there's 16 steps to create your recovery lifestyle. Now, one thing that's important, it talks about addiction in this book, but it's not specific to addiction.
Hmm.
It's about recovery, recovering from life. Addiction is just one of the things that we recover from. You could recover from a relationship. You lost a job. There's so many things we could recover from, and this is about taking your life back, right? And creating the life that you want, a life that you don't want to escape, right? So that's my tagline: create a life you don't want to escape, and that's what I hope people can do with this book.
I love that. Yeah, we're all trying to recover from some kind of traumatic experience in our lives,
Mm,
and I always say that everybody's an addict. We're all addicts of pleasure. Some of us got better forms of it, healthier forms of it, but nonetheless, we're all addicted to dopamine. We're just
mm,
getting it from different places.
exactly.
Uh, hmm. So. Could you give me with confidentiality, Amanda, obviously we don't say any names, but could you give me an example of a specific family that came in hopeless and you were able to guide them through a real inspirational transformation in their family member's life?
Yes, and this one I like to talk about because it's special to me and it's special to my heart because it's something we don't get very often. Okay.
Yeah, I can't wait. Spill the tea.
Because when we talk about family, we often think mom, dad, brother, sister, aunt, uncle, whatever, right?
Yeah.
This specific situation, the family was a group of, I think, 10 or 12 friends that got
Mm,
together and to help a friend that was really struggling and was, listen, I'll put it this way. If they wouldn't have approached me when they did and we would not have taken action, I don't think that this man would have lived more than another 6 months or a year
mm,
because his his health was getting so bad. Like the first month of treatment he spent in the hospital. So there it was time. It was like time for him to get help, right? And so I get this call from these concerned friends. Hey, Andre, we know what you do. Can we have this meeting? Yeah, I sit down, I talk to them, I give them the big picture. In Canada, you have to pay out of pocket to go to treatment. So we're talking about a lot of money. Like you're talking about 50, $60,000 at least for that 3 months of treatment, right? So I explained this to them and like everybody's jaw dropped and then I explained my fees and so on. And like I explained, I can't do anything about those fees, but I could work with my fees a bit to help you out, right? Because
yeah.
this is amazing that you all want to help your friend like this.
Yeah.
So, so I worked on my fees. They worked within each other to try to figure things. And you know what? They chipped in together and they paid over $60,000 to send
Wow.
this man to treatment, and they were all excited about it, but at the same time they were all scared. They're like, he won't want to go. Like there's no way, and he'll lose it, and like there's no way he's saying yes. And I was just smiling, saying, you know what, 100% of groups and families that I meet tell me the same thing. There's no way he's gonna say yes. He's gonna lose it. He's gonna blah, 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 every time, right? And that's I don't very, very rarely happens, right? But the fear is there because that's part of how that person has created the environment to scare everyone. Anytime anybody pushed his buttons, they would lose it. And that's common, right? So everybody becomes afraid. So we have to work through that. And I explained to them, no, I really know that he's asking for help, right? Men in pain ask for help in different ways, and it's often not with words, it's with
Mm,
actions. And I see some actions and some things he's been doing that's screaming help, right? So that, okay, we'll trust you. So we did the intervention. We got him there, and he came in.
yeah.
And as he came in, I explained what was going on. And this guy's sick. He jumped over the table to hug his friends that he hadn't seen for so long because he had pushed a lot of people away. People had pushed themselves away because they couldn't see that.
Yeah.
Just within maybe 10 minutes of the intervention, one letter, it was a yes, I'm going. Yes, I'm ready. Yes. Everybody thought he'd
Wow.
say no, right? One letter. This guy, it was fascinating. He went to treatment, full 3 months, came back, and now sober for over a year,
Oh,
and very, very, very proud of this man.
that's amazing, man. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
sharing that.
yeah.
What would you say to a family that has a loved one or a group of friends for that matter? Uh, when is the right time to take the situation out of their hands and start reaching out to a professional? Because I know people
As
struggle with that.
as soon as they have that thought.
That's good.
Because as soon as they have that thought, that means things are out of control and they feel like they no longer have control. And that's where we start making the bad mistakes that could make things worse. So as soon as it's out of control, as soon as you've tried everything you could, and that's one thing that's important. When I do an intervention, when I meet with families, I make sure they've tried everything. Intervention is the last option,
Hmm.
right? So and it's important. If you meet an intervention and that's not the case, they think that the intervention is the first course of action, turn around and run fast, right?
Yeah.
Because that's not reality. We want to use intervention as a last resort.
Mm.
And so sometimes just coaching the families has allowed us to not do an intervention just and just by coaching the families, helping them understand boundaries, helping them start implement those boundaries slowly, has often I've worked my way out of an intervention job, right? But I'm happy that I do that. Like for me, this is great because now the family's getting healthier and the person's going because they want to go, right?
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah.
funny. Look at the heart of this gentleman. This is why I love this guy. He's an anti-intervention interventionist. He's like, don't call me until you absolutely have to. Try to figure it out. Give it every shot you can. I really just want to see your loved one get the help they need. That's very rare in business to know somebody's heart posture is really, truly out there to help the individual, not make $1 million off of somebody. So, what would be the first step if they get to that point, uh, and selecting the right interventionist, selecting the right program or process? Because they're overwhelmed, they're freaking out.
Yeah.
There's probably legal involved or some kind of pressing matter. They're stressed out. What is the
Yeah.
first step you would advise a family to make when they realize that this is out of control?
The first step is to reach out to an interventionist or two or three. You know, there's nothing wrong in speaking to a few and then deciding which one you're most comfortable. Same thing with therapists, with anything, right? The secret sauce is not the person itself. It's not, oh, Andre's great or Jack is great or Joe is no, it's what's my relationship with this person? What's my connection? You could have the best therapist in the world. If you can't connect with them, you won't say what's on your heart. The same thing with an interventionist, a coach. If you don't feel safe with this person, you won't give them the information they need in order to help you. Right. So make sure that you connect and you choose somebody that you feel you can trust. Also, make sure this interventionist is not connected to one or two rehabs because there are sometimes interventionists that do interventions specifically for one or two rehabs, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if your goal is to find the best possible treatment center for your loved one, you'll want an interventionist that's unbiased, that's able to look at what your loved one needs. And then look at all the treatment centers. There's over 14,000 treatment centers in the US, right? So
Yeah.
you want to look at where is the best spot for my loved one.
Hmm.
You don't want to be sending everyone at the same place because a treatment center could be great for one person and really not good for another, right?
Yeah.
So you really want to make sure that you find an interventionist that can give you at least 3 to 5 options to choose from, right? And if they only have one or two, that's go with somebody that could give you options, right? So
Yeah.
you make that final decision of what's best for your loved one. And one of the secrets of treatment is finding something in that treatment center that your loved one will enjoy. I'll give you an example. If there was a young musician, his family tried to send him to treatment forever. He wanted nothing to do with it. I got him in my office for 30 minutes. He was ready to go to treatment. Why? Because I told him I could send him a treatment center in the US that had a recording studio in their treatment center and they had jam nights on Fridays.
Nice.
I told him, you're not just going to treatment, you'll get some free studio time. And the kid was like, man, I want to go. All right, let's go tell your mom. Right. And went
Yeah.
to treatment. And today he's going to school to help people.
Yeah, you got to sell the client that is struggling with addiction with the amenities and the cool little things that are in the place, so they're not scared and think they're going to be bored. And then you got to get the family to align with the proper clinical program that's actually going to get them the
Exactly.
healing. So it's definitely a masterful art of really listening, active listening, caring, and hearing where the best fit is. I totally agree that an
Mhm.
interventionist that has options all over is definitely more potent and powerful than somebody that just works for one specific place.
Yeah.
So, what's one piece of information that you wish every family knew before addiction tore their family apart?
It's not your fault.
Mm,
Not your fault. Because the reality of parenthood is 100% of parents screw up their kids. 100% of parents screw up their kids. Our job as parents is to screw them up the least amount possible, right? And we don't do it
wow.
purposely, right? Because we raise our children with the lens of our past, our knowledge, our traumas, our failures, our achievements. That's how we raise our children, right?
Yeah.
So we mold our children into what we feel is best for them because we love them. But we don't always get it right. And sometimes we get parts right, some parts not right, and so on. So really, as children, as human beings, once we become adults, it's our job to decide who we want to be, to delete some of that programming, and to reformat our brain into who we want to be. And that's the gift of recovery, because recovery forces you to do that. So
Yeah,
it's a blessing. Recovery is a blessing.
it
Today,
is.
I'm who I'm supposed to be.
I love that. That's a super, super honest answer. Yeah, we're all messing up our kids, and it's not your fault because we all have traumas. I thought that was
Sure.
probably one of the most genuine answers I've ever heard. All right. One thing I want to ask as we're like closing out, what's one myth about addiction that you wish would disappear forever?
Oof. The one and I know this is a little bit controversial, but being told that you're sick forever
Hmm.
is it's been proven in university that if you tell a student you suck, you're not good, you won't, you're gonna fail, you suck, you're not good, you're gonna fail, and then you take that same student, the same test, and you tell them you're amazing, you got this, you could get through this, their grades are gonna be way different,
Yes.
right? But in our society, we feel like we need to hang on to the fact that I'm an addict forever. I'm an
Hmm.
addict. Well, I'm not. I can tell you right now, I've been through addiction, but I've
Yeah.
healed. And I know
Yeah.
I've healed because my PTSD at one point came back. And not once did I think about going to drugs.
Yeah.
Not once.
So true. Identity is such a powerful force. You know.
Exactly.
Hi,
Now
I'm Kevin.
yeah, but for some people it is like for some people it's a lifelong journey to
Yeah.
find the underlying cause of the addiction and heal it. So
Yeah.
yeah, for some people it is a lifelong journey. So I'm not saying that it's not true. I'm just saying that it's not a fact for everyone.
Yeah. You
For
can't tell somebody that they're sick. That's something that they have to come to the realization through their
ex
own insight and own self-discovery. Yeah.
Exactly. Because I remember in rehab, that's the one thing they kept telling us, you're sick for life. You're sick for life. You're sick for life. You're going to relapse. It's part of it. You know what? I didn't relapse for a while and I had to do therapy because I thought I wasn't okay. Like, why am
Mhm.
I not relapsing? What's wrong? What's wrong with me? I'm not normal. They told me everybody relapses, right? And then I'm like, you know what? I don't have to relapse. That's not a fact. It's common, but it's not a fact,
Yeah.
right? And instead of finding solutions in our industry, we've come to say, no, that's normal. No, it's not normal. Why does it keep happening? Okay, let's find a solution to that.
Mm.
And one of the big problems is this 30-day treatment. There's no proof, there's nothing that shows that 30-day is a magic number for treatment. That was put there because the insurance company were forced to pay for treatment. They needed to put a number down when they put the Parity Act, when the Parity Act came in. 30 is no magic number. The reality is very little people can heal in 30 days, right? That's why I have this rule in my interventions, 90 days minimum. I don't do an intervention if the family's not willing to send their loved one to treatment for 90 days. And there's a reason for that. First 3 weeks, they're pushing against. So really, they're getting 1 week of treatment in
Mm.
their first month. Second month, they're doing all the work. This is hard. This is the hard month, right? They're doing the work, they're in it, they're doing some healing. The third month starts getting boring. It's redundant, right? But the biggest killer of recovery is boredom.
It's boredom,
So you
yeah.
want them to get bored in treatment so they learn how to manage that boredom while they're safe and well surrounded,
Mm.
right?
It's
And
true.
since I've been doing that, the success rates again have gone up dramatically. People coming out are doing step down programs, going to sober living, and when people do that, they're often staying clean,
Yeah.
right?
I wholeheartedly agree with that. I ran a program and a detox, and you know, the first few weeks they're just fighting you, fighting you, fighting you, and once they finally start getting a little momentum, they're about to leave. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I think the 90-day rule is a really smart, powerful rule to have. I love that. All right, so what's one daily habit uh, that has drastically improved your life or your client's life that they can incorporate in recovering
The
and however that means to them?
I treat every client individually and everybody's different, but there is one thing that's the same for every client that I work with. Morning routine, evening routine.
Love it.
Set a morning routine, 2 to 3 things every morning two to three things every night. That never changes. That's the stability in your life. You know how when you're in active addiction, life is a chaos. It's unmanageable. This makes it manageable. Every morning, routine, same thing. Every night, routine, same thing. And in that routine, it has to be the first hour you wake up, no phone. The last hour, no phone. That's part of that's necessary. What that does is you don't wake up anxious. People wake up anxious because you wake up and you don't know what you need to do. What do I do? Now I got to plan my day. Now, no, you wake up without the anxiety because you know what you're going to do. And by the time you need to figure things out, your whole body's awake, it's ready to go. So it really kills the anxiety and reduces the chance of cravings and so on.
Bookending your days, man. I
Mhm.
absolutely love that. Yeah, so many people are living in reaction instead of response. And they're overstimulated with their phone and the notifications and all that stuff. And me too. Listen, I sometimes I'm guilty of scrolling through my phone for an hour.
Oh, me too.
Probably the only addiction that I still struggle with is my phone addiction. But all fairness, I do run my entire business and everything I do in my life through my phone. So I give myself grace and mercy around that. So what is like one book or one resource do you think that would be massively impactful in the listeners' lives?
Attached.
Attached.
Yeah, best book I've ever
Mm.
read. It's impacted my life tremendously. Any client I've recommended, it's impacted their lives because it won't just help with understanding yourself. It helps you understand your partner, your lover, your friends, your family, your business partners. Any interaction you have, you now start understanding why the other person reacts in that certain way. I'm telling you, it will help in every relationship you have. It's an amazing, amazing book.
Uh, you know, it's very rarely do I ask that question, and I did not read the book.
Really?
And the fact that this suggestion came from you, I am ordering it as soon as we get off of this show because I respect you. I think you have a plethora of wisdom. I mean, you're like my twin flame or whatever, because a lot of the answers that you say, and I'm like, ding, 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 ding. This guy's spitting fire. Um,
Uh, Can I
so I,
give
re
one little trick that I give to all my clients as well that's so powerful? And I don't know where I got this. I think it might be Dr. Callie. I'm not sure, but it's I have him go get those peppers that are dried, like hot peppers that they
yeah,
dried up. Uh, I have them keep that in their car or in their purse or whatever. So when they're in early recovery, you get a craving,
uh-huh.
take a bite on it, right? Because what it does, it gives you a rush of dopamine, the same thing you're craving, because you're not always craving the drugs. Your body's craving that rush of dopamine, and that gives you that rush of dopamine. Plus, whatever that trigger that triggered you, you'll forget. All you're thinking about is how this burns.
It's
You don't care what
associating
happened.
with the
You don't.
pain.
Oh yeah. So it's the best little trick to give you that minute to say, you know what, I don't want to use. I don't know where that thought came from. I don't want that.
Wow,
Right?
that's NLP at its finest right there. That's like a swish pattern where you're coordinating and associating one thing with something that's not pleasurable and you're kind of changing the meanings to it. I've never heard that, but
Mm,
that is a super, super powerful trick
mm.
and thing. So thank you so much for sharing that. Really, really do appreciate that.
No
I'm
problem.
terrified. My body does not like hot pepper, so if I had to do that, it would immediately take away my cravings after the first two or three, maybe 40 times I did that. So, because the show is True Warrior Recovery, I'm going to ask you, what do you think being a true warrior means to you?
Being a true warrior means being true to yourself. To me, that's the biggest flex somebody could have is being true to themselves no matter what. Because in society today, we have so many influencers, and we mistake influencers with leaders, right? And we don't have a lot of leaders. We have a lot of influencers, and the difference is influencers are going after the likes, and influencers will do the what's right no matter what. No matter if it gives them likes or dislikes, they're going to
Yeah.
do what's best. So for me, always do what's best. Always be true to yourself, no matter what. And then you'll never have any regrets.
Integrity is one of my highest values, so I really resonate with that. So, man, you've been spitting knowledge all day. I'm sure everyone that hears this episode is going to feel the same way. How can people contact you, reach out to you, connect with you in any kind of way? Because I know the demand of being able to pick your brain or just being associated with the value and wisdom and knowledge that you have in this industry is immensely valuable. So how would they get in contact with you?
All right, there's a few ways. There's my phone number, which I don't know if we could post somewhere, but I could give it out. It's 506-863-8611. I work best by text. You could always go on our website, which is therecoverylifestyle.ca, or on our other website, which is edeninterventions.com. They could also contact Lindsay Barclay. And my email address, nguhope at icloud.com. So that's never give up hope, nguhope at icloud.com. So those are probably the best ways, or on social media. Come add me to Facebook, Instagram, whatever, and you could always message me. I enter my own personal messages. So, yes, feel free to message me on social media as well.
Excellent, excellent. Andre, well, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm really grateful that I got to spend this time and to ask you a few questions and be able to share your massive library of wisdom and knowledge in this. So thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for educating, empowering the audience, and God bless you, man.
Thank you for having me, Kevin. I feel blessed to be here.
Have a great day. Take care.
You too, man.